Good boy. Hey folks, reporting here from Delhi, Ohio today. Outdoors in 85-degree weather. Wanted to give my opinion on tomorrow's debate between Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson. First, I want to say that it's just my opinion, and this is no offense to anyone, but in my opinion, it should be Candace Owens and a TPUSA rep. Why? Because they're the two closest, I think, the two most exposed, and some of the two greatest stakeholders that are closest to the data that matters. Absent that, Andrew Wilson, I think, would be a number 2 pick for me. And it would be even better if TPUSA got with Andrew and had him actually represent and maybe share their information with him before the debate. But that aside, I just want to give my bias on the front end. I'm both a subscriber of Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson. I've seen a lot of both of their videos. Andrew Wilson, I think I relate to him because he's logical. He has sources, he referenced sources. And I think in debates a lot of times, folks, when you're getting a new study, for example, you kind of have to investigate it on the fly. Good debates will be more like they do in court, right? Where there's a little bit of discovery. Hey, these are the studies I'm going to be bringing up. These are the references I'm bringing to the table. Not that it'd be a full inclusive list, but it'd allow both sides to study some of that data from both sides going into the debate. But that aside, I also think Andrew Wilson has good debate skills. Those are some of the pros. On the con side, I like his debates where he goes into TikTok and challenges a whole room of folks. I like his one-on-one debates. I'm not real big on the debates he has with a lot of times women on the whatever podcast in terms of substance. Entertainment, sure, but substance. On the Candace side, you know, kind of the pros and cons in one analogy is she kind of casts out the big net, and when she pulls it in, there's some trophy winners in there. In other words, there's some truth in there, and then there's a lot of kind of, what do you call that, goose chases in there, a lot of dead ends. And I think that that's both good and, you know, it's just rangy, and sometimes that can be hard to follow with all the data she's putting out there. But I also want to give you my bias of not my very first reaction when I heard Charlie was shot or was killed, if you will, but my bias in terms of my reaction when I first heard it, aside from compassion I had for the family, close friends, loved ones, and things like that, within minutes though, a reaction of mine was having all kinds of reaction, was the mother effing FBI. And now some say that was really prejudiced on the front end, but when I look at who's been attacking our free speech, it's folks in government, and the FBI was right up there. All the suspicion with their embedded in Twitter at the time, the national ruling, what's come out now in the courts, and you say, hey, Charlie's death was a war on free speech. That's how I view it. And if somebody that was popular on the left side, whether I agreed with them or didn't agree with them, and they were shot, why they were exercising free speech, and it was like the Charlie thing, only on the left side, I'd say the same thing. Now, I'm going out and I'm seeing comments and different, you know, on Andrew's site video he puts out, I'm seeing comments on Candace's site or channels, and other channels that are covering this in different ways. Hey, Gnarly, stop. And what I notice is a lot of bias, a lot of prejudice going into this debate. And I think that's the wrong way to do it. I have my own bias, but I think the right way to do it, and the winners in this debate, who's going to win the debate? It's the people that are going to be able to set aside their biases, bring them back in later, but during the debate, set them aside and see, because this is the first time we have two major opposing powerhouses debating different sides of the Charlie Kirk death, the Charlie Kirk murder, the unalive, I guess, is the way I have to keep it from getting dethrottled and decensored. And in some ways, I think we've all lost in this. But the people that win in this one are those that go in seeking truth. Those that go in, whether you're going in on Candace's side or on Andrew's side, if you're able to set that aside to an extent and just hear the argument and the counter argument and look at the evidence from a fresh mind, and then later on bring in all your other knowledge, evidence, gut feeling, because some study shows that, you know, you ought to listen to your gut. The gut feeling is some strong evidence sometimes. It can lead us right. So I think that's who the winners are, those that are able to not go in and try and say, oh, Andrew won or Candace won, but are able to go in and find the truth. Because I'm going to say that I believe there's going to be some truth that comes out from both sides. And the one that's able to go in and seek and find the truth from each side and determine based on that truth and help truth win is going to be a much better winner than the person that goes in saying Andrew's going to win and comes out saying Andrew won, or Candace is going to win, comes out saying Candace won. So I think it's important that we focus on that and focus on an itemized list of who was right on specific points and not who won or lost in the overall debate. The other thing I'd point out, and I think this is a big thing because my channel is dedicated to government accountability and news reporting, and I do a lot of local government accountability actions. And so this one, the first time I'm really getting out there in a national topic. And the thing is if it turns out that, not tomorrow, but if it turns out that both tomorrow and at the end of the day, it's proven that Andrew is right, and that the evidence is overwhelming, and it turns out it's so overwhelming that he was prosecuted, found guilty, and it's a righteous prosecution, then at the end of the day, the right thing happened in that context. The killer was caught. Now you may say, hey, he wasn't a lone gunman, he was guilty but wasn't lone. Then some justice was served, some wasn't. Then it's a mixed output. But if some of what Candace alleges as possibilities, I'll say, are right, then it's another data point of evidence of sellouts in government. And if you remember what my first reaction to this was, the effing FBI, and it wasn't said blindly, it was based on history, my knowledge of their history, recent history, even going back, you know, I'm talking roughly the last decade or so, throughout the war on women, the war on the cover-up for PDF files, the war on our constitutional rights. The FBI has been behind all that. And so my reaction was worthy of what it was. Now, I don't say that they're guilty, but man, there's a lot of suspicious things going on there. And that goes for the Utah law enforcement agencies that have been involved as well. A lot of questions that need to be answered that have not been answered. And that said, I've heard things where Candace provides things that I don't think have been heard anywhere else. She's like the source of elements of truth that I don't think you can find anywhere else. And I've seen things where Andrew has debated folks that bring to light things that I have not seen in other places. And one of the things I try to do in conflicts, because sometimes you get in a conflict, right? And person A says, oh yeah, person B said that, and person B says, oh yeah, person A said that, is you get person A and person B together, right? And in that three-way, you're the moderator because you're the one that's being talked about and lied about by one or both of these folks. And you get them to confront. And see, what we have here is we have Candace doing it. I see Coach, what's his name? I am Coach. He's doing it. You know, there's lots of people out there doing it. But I don't see TPUSA doing it. I don't see them in this debate. That should be the debate of the year, of the last 5 years. Maybe not that big. But that should be the big debate. And where are they in this? On the sidelines commentating, where their ideas can't be scrutinized? Now I want to finish this up by bringing it back home. Bringing it back to where I live, Delhi, Ohio. The public has been coming out, three that I know of now, that have come to the public meeting and in some way or another have articulated or challenged, articulated their disagreement with my activism or challenged and have said things that are false, untrue things about me and my actions that I can prove are false. At best, they can't prove what they're saying. So when one of them says I send out 700 emails expecting replies, I'd have to be stupid. I can tell you when I started sending out emails, when I thought my rights were violated, when they took a TPM, a time, place, and manner restriction, and treated it like a trespass, illegally violating my rights. So I reached out to my trustees, and I wasn't getting replies back. I hadn't been emailing them a bunch at that point. I started emailing them a bunch because I had a lot of evidence I wanted to show. I was offering to show them evidence if they reached out to me and let me know they were interested. And so I caught Trustee Seavey up at the fire department open house. And she wasn't happy that I was news reporting with my video camera. And I ended up respecting that and left her alone. But I asked her, I said, you know, I've been trying to reach out to you on this topic and I'm not getting replies